Peter, Michael, John. Do these names sound familiar? We all grew up watching Peter Pan, whether it was the 1953 animated movie, its sequel, or the 2003 live-action movie. Peter Pan has most probably been a part of our lives somehow. However, there would be no boy who never grew up without the 5 boys who influenced this tale. These boys were George, John, also known as Jack, Peter, Michael, and Nicholas, Nico for short. They were the children of Arthur Llewelyn-Davies, a barrister, and Sylvia Llewelyn-Davies, daughter of writer and cartoonist Gerald du Maurier. This video will discuss the lives of these 5 boys, including their relationship with J.M. Barrie. The family lived with their parents and nurse Mary Hodgson in the Paddington, Notting Hill area of London. They lived a middle-class life. The 3 eldest boys, George, 4 at the time, Jack, 3 at the time, and Peter, only a few months old, first met J.M. Barrie in 1897 with Miss Hodgson in an outing to Kensington Gardens. He entertained them by dancing with his dog Porthos. As time went on, the children grew close with Barrie, calling him Uncle Jim, who often invited the family over to his summer home. George, the eldest son, was born the 20th of July 1893 and shares his name with George Darling, the father of the family in Peter Pan. He is the most influential out of all of the boys in the works Barrie has based around them. One of Peter's most famous lines,
"To die will be an awfully big adventure,"
was reportedly said by George, having upon learned that when babies die they go to Neverland. In 1907, Arthur Davies died of salivary sarcoma, and Barrie became more involved with the family, providing for them financially. When Sylvia died in 1910 of lung cancer, Barrie was made guardian along with Sylvia's mother Emma du Maurier, her brother Guy du Maurier, and Arthur's brother Compton Llewelyn-Davies. George attended Eton College, funded by Barrie, who had been wealthy through the success of Peter Pan. After this, he attended Trinity College at Cambridge University and volunteered in World War I. Here he was made second lieutenant in the King's Royal Rifle Corps. He fought on the front line of Flanders, where he was shot in the head and died only one day after the death of Guy du Maurier. It would seem that Barrie was closest with George, as Peter Llewelyn-Davies wrote later, George, whom he had loved with such a deep, strange, increasing love. Jack, the next son, was born 11th September 1894 and shares his name with the eldest son, John Darling. Unlike the rest of his brothers, he attended Osborne Naval College. Despite being recommended by Barrie for this school, Jack had some bitterness towards him, often believing he was trying to replace his father. It was rumoured that Barrie and Sylvia harboured romantic feelings for each other after Arthur died. Attending the college led to Jack joining the Royal Navy and serving on the North Atlantic in World War I. In 1917, he married Geraldine Gibb and was given the house he grew up in. Michael and Nico stayed there in the holidays in the care of Miss Hodgson, who soon resigned due to tension with Gibb. The couple had 2 children, Timothy and Sylvia, named after his mother. When Barrie died, Jack could have taken his title of baronet, but Barrie had never formally adopted the Davies boys, and adopted children could not inherit titles anyway. Jack died aged 65 in 1959. Peter was also not really close to Barrie. He was born the 25th of February 1897 and was the youngest at the time of meeting Barrie. When it comes to the first Peter Pan novel, it was mainly George and Jack who were the inspiration, but Peter has been publicly identified as the real Peter Pan and served as inspiration for the 1904 play and later the 1911 novel Peter and Wendy. When his mother died, Barrie told the boys that they were secretly engaged, but Peter rejected this. Peter attended Eton College like the rest of his brothers and later volunteered for the war. He served in France as a signalman and spent time in the trenches, which emotionally damaged him. He survived the war, winning the Military Cross. The tension he had with Barrie was caused by his dating a woman 27 years his senior, of whom he met whilst in the military in 1917. Barrie was against this relationship along with Miss Hodgson. This relationship only lasted until 1919 when Peter's service ended. In 1926, Peter established Peter Davies Limited, a publishing house which published The Young George du Maurier, written by Peter's cousin Daphne du Maurier. In 1931, he married Margaret Leslie Hall Ruthven and had 3 sons, Ruthven, George and Peter. His mental state due to the war, along with the pressure of living as the real Peter Pan, as well as losing both his parents at such a young age, led Peter to depression and drink. He was bringing together a collection of letters and documents of his family when he threw himself in front of a train at Sloane Square Station. He died aged 63, the 5th of April 1960. Michael was exceptionally close to Barrie, to the point where it was deemed unhealthy. He was born 16th of June 1900 and shares his name with Michael Darling, the youngest. Despite this, he is reportedly the key inspiration of Peter Pan's personality and antics. The statue of Pan, situated in Kensington Gardens, was supposed to be modelled on photographs of Michael dressed as Peter Pan when he was about 6 years old. However, the sculptor modelled it on someone else. A bright boy at school who excelled in art and poetry, he sorely missed Barrie when he was away at school and wrote to him daily. Instead of joining the war, he attended Oxford University despite wanting to go to Paris. During his time at Oxford, he became friends with Robert Boothby, a later Conservative politician, and Rupert Buxton, who he was very close with. It was rumoured that Michael was possibly homosexual, which was dismissed by Boothby as a phase in which he grew out of. He also saw Michael's relationship with Barrie to be very unhealthy and morbid, but did not find anything sexual about it. Davies was not a good swimmer and drowned with Buxton in May 1921. Although it was declared that Davies started drowning and Buxton tried to save him, the fact that they were clasped together suggests a suicide pact. Barrie found this out through a man he met on the street and never recovered from it, often dreaming about Michael. When Peter Davies was collecting letters and documents, it said he had reached documents of Michael's death when he decided to kill himself, making it a possible factor. The last brother is Nicholas, also known as Nico. He was too young, being born 24th of November 1903, to be a direct influence for the play of Peter Pan. For the novelization, Michael Darling's middle name was made Nicholas. Like Michael, he also attended Oxford and spent his holidays with Barrie, who he adored as a child. He was living with Barrie when news of George's death reached them. He married Mary James in 1926 and had a daughter Laura in 1928, who Barrie became the godfather of. He joined Peter Davies Limited in 1935 and later worked as a consultant to writer Andrew Birkin. The 5 boys led interesting and for some macabre lives once Barrie entered them. Some often wonder if Barrie's love for the boys was far more intimate than what we know, despite Nicholas dismissing it later, calling Barrie an innocent. This isn't something I will touch in this video, but I will link an article about it in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe for more.